So that was really one of my first investigations. And by investigation, I mean that I had an interest in the paranormal. And I had a couple of friends that were interested in the paranormal. And we had a flashlight and we had a camcorder. So that was make enough, right? At that point in time, that was enough for us to be able to be legitimate. So there was a particular area where I live where there was said to be a werewolf sighting there. So we thought, let's go see if we can capitalize on this. So we went out at night. It was probably about 10 o'clock at night, with all of our gear and everything. And now we weren't prepared for what happened because as the evening progressed, our batteries started draining, right? And these were fully powered batteries, so slowly there starts to be a drain going on. And this is unusual. Everything was charged. And then before long, we started noticing all around us this a static electricity. And it looks like whenever you pull a bed sheet off of the bed in the wintertime, right? This was going on all around us. So we thought, this is probably a little bit out of our jurisdiction here. We really don't know what's going on here. So we decided that we're going to turn around and get out of there. And as we turn around, the path in which we have to go down, there's a light that illuminates, and it only lasts for, I was going to say a few seconds, but it might not even have been more than a second. But this light kind of flashes on and slowly fizzles out. And, this was very, very creepy. But in order to get back to our car, we have to go down that particular way. And when we get to the point in the forest where that light illuminated, now there's something off to the right that starts pacing us in the woods, right? We could hear something breathing, something snarling going on. And although I never saw what was following us, we were in a place where we were looking for Dogman. And for all intents and purposes, it seemed as if there was now a Dogman there with us. Now, the reason why I went into this lengthy story is the idea of the light, right? This light, and this is the first time I'd ever encountered this kind of light. You call it an orb, whatever the case may be. But I'm now, as I've been researching this for 25 years since this particular encounter that I had, I'm starting to think that maybe what we saw was a doorway opening. A lot of people talk about interdimensionality or whatever, but it seems as if this energy that was being slowly released with these sparks in the air, and to the point that the light actually illuminated, it seemed as if that was the terror in our world, I guess, in that veil between the two worlds that separate each other. It seems that light was the terror that allowed whatever was on the other side to now enter into our world. And I am firmly believing as well that whatever was following us was not there before that light came on.
Wow.
Wow.
So
I know the feeling.
basically, it was a portal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, because I mean, we struggle with these terms. People talk about quantum theory, even though scientists that study quantum theory really don't even know what the hell it is, right? So we use all these big terms, but we really don't know what's going on. But what we do kind of understand when we talk about the idea of quantum physics, it seems that these things don't exist unless we have the power to observe them, right? That's so much a part of the idea of quantum physics as well, too. The observability and these things change and adapt to each person. So that is really where my research is now leading me, to the idea that there's something out there that's able to manipulate the energy within us to allow us to see something that may or may not be there. And I write a lot about archetypes as well, too. And I think one of the reasons why we have these archetypes, and Dogman most certainly is an archetype that's seen throughout the world. The reason why we have these things with us is, I believe, in ancient antiquity, we probably did encounter something like these things. And because they made such an impact on us, on our species, that they continue with us even to this day. And apparently, from what people are seeing and what I experienced, every now and then they are taking physical form.
Do you think that now when you went to go investigate that particular area, had you heard anything similar to that experience, or did they actually just see the creature, like without all
Right.
the electric?
Okay. Yeah. So the story was this. This woman, well, she was a young girl at the time. She met a guy online who was from California. And, I guess they kind of fell in love and everything. And he moved the whole way across country to be with her in, Pennsylvania. And she had a little child, and they seemed to be getting along nicely, as everything progressed. But he would often go to this little new age shop that was run by, a local witch. She was from Massachusetts. She sold, everything you would want, incense and herbs and all this other kind of stuff. So he started to hang out at one of these places. And I was very dear friends with the owner. And she said that he would come in and usually not say anything, but, he'd kind of wander around. But then after a period of time, he started to open up a little bit more. And one day he came in and said, I'm a werewolf. And now she's open to a lot of things, but she immediately thought that he was crazy, right? But as their conversation went, he was frightened because he felt as if the transformation was going to be coming on soon. And he was afraid of hurting the child, who his girlfriend's daughter. So, I mean, there's a lot of different kind of projections here and everything. Did he have some sort of proclivity to harm children or whatever? So a lot of stuff's going on. But as it came out, and of course this is not a one-day conversation, this is over a period of days. He said that his father was also a werewolf, and the mother would lock him down in the basement, and she and the kids would leave and then come back, apparently after the transformation process ended. But it had nothing to do with the cycle of the moon. It was more of a chemical reaction, right? And he felt that he knew whenever he was going to change. So he felt that the change was imminent, and he wanted to go someplace to get away. So then he didn't come back into the shop for a period of about 2 weeks. And then one day he comes back in and he tells the owner of the shop that he did indeed transform into this creature, right? But he didn't want to hurt anybody. So when he went out into the middle of nowhere, and while he was there, he ran into a female werewolf, and they were able to run together, as he said. Whenever I use that term, it still kind of gives me shivers to think about it, that he met a female werewolf, and the word that he chose to use was run together. It's almost like, pack formation or something like that. But that was the location that we were investigating. This place out in the middle of nowhere, no lights. The nearest house is probably 3 miles away, a very secluded spot. And our experience was much more psychic than any kind of corporeal transformation that we witnessed, but it was still visceral nonetheless. I do feel that there was something out there, and if that something could be construed as a dogman, then I think that's the only word we have for it.
That puts a whole new take on what a werewolf could be and where it would go when it does transform. It makes you wonder if when they transform, that part of that is that they're going into another realm and coming back and forth.
That's a great point.
That's a great point, Dan.